clouds are low, can't see the mountains, feel the wind is moving slow. The stage before a breeze begins, it's time for rain. Time to feed the plants and trees, the sky will cry. Her tears will bring life to the sea. Nature seems full of dreams unending. A native man cups his hands and drinks. Morning comes, the sun awakens from the sea, the morning light touches all so quietly. It's time for day, time to rise and lift your eyes and look around at nature's gift beneath the sky. Nature seems full of dreams unending. Cups his hands and drinks. In his hands is a land unending, full of life. It is right to drink. Night clouds are low, can't see the mountains, feel the wind is moving slow. The stage before a breeze begins, it's time for rain. Time to feed the plants and trees, its sun will cry. Her tears will bring life to the sea. Nature seems full of dreams unending. A native man cups his hands and drinks.
The Lord James Tally-ho Blears, remembered in services and celebration of life here today at internationally famous Makaha Beach. Thank you all for being here. Mahalo, brother Alika. I'll remember you, remembering Taliho, remembering Kui Lee's, bringing in his mana'o to the music and to the stage. I'm going to give it over to my brother here, Wainui, for the poo, which will segue, ladies and gentlemen, if you please, into our oli, our pule, our paddle out, and then our program back here. Wainui. Mahalo. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you. Aloha ia kākou. Kanikapu. Kai ki malino mai o nā mea huna no ea o na mele ho mai ho mai ho mai ho mai ho mai ho mai kai ki malino mai o nā mea huna no ea o na mele ho mai ho mai ho mai kai ki mai luna mai o nā mea huna no ea o na mele ho mai ho mai ho mai
Aloha, everyone. Aloha. Alo. Face to face. In the presence of Ha. We come face to face in the presence of the sacred. We have come to join the Blears family in this sacred moment. They wanted me to truly express to you their mahalo and their aloha to you for being with them, for coming together out of your own busy lives to remember one who is close to all of us, remains close to us. I also remember Lee and Jimmy, because they are here with us also. It is the nature of the sacred. And that is what I wanted to call to mind. You know, last night, I was doing a lot of meditating on what I wanted to share today. And I decided that I didn't know what taliho means. And so I went into my favorite book, Google, and I looked up taliho. Taliho actually comes from the fox hunting days of the kingdom. And it really was about seeing the fox. It was about sighting. And in the history of the development of the word, that's what it came to focus on. It was the sighting. And I thought, how powerful that is. Because I believe, as I read through all of the material on Lord Blears, as I've been with his family, that really was the strength of the man. He could see. And I know, and you know, that all people who face death, who come face to face with death, come away with a different feeling. You begin to know how precious and sacred this life is. And so today, We're here to honor and give thanks and to remember our blessed brother. I say that he has returned home. He is joining Lee, Jimmy, and all of those who made up his ohana. And we are celebrating and giving thanks for that as his ohana here today with his true ohana. This moment is sacred, and we have come together now to talk story and to share our memories and our stories about him. So it's going to be very informal. I would like as many of you to please come and sit, and we want to hear the stories of this great man. So Carol, Laura, Clinton, thank you for enabling us to come together to share our mana'o, our love, and our prayer, not only for your dad, but for all of you. Mahalo. Please sit. Come.
So, does anybody want to come up and share a little story or talk? Or I want to thank everybody. Come on up, Carol, for coming. Like Clarence said, and we're so happy that Clarence came to be with us and all of you, all of our friends. And that's why my dad brought all of us over to Hawaii, was because of all of you. He loved the people, he loved the land, he loved everything about Hawaii. And he just said, I'm bringing you back to Waikiki, and then I want to end up in Makaha. He called this God's country. And he always said that, I don't want to go anywhere else. And even when he wasn't doing so good at the house, he said, you guys can leave me here, and the Beach Boys in Waikiki would bring me plate lunches, and you guys can get out of here, because I'm not leaving Makaha. So we're truly bringing him home, because he did say that. We kept pleading with him, Dad, he says no. So I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. Want us to do the poem?
I don't know, I'll just do it.
Okay. We're going to do, before anybody gets up, we have one, my dad, being from England, did a lot of poetry, and then so we started to memorize some of it, and when we couldn't be with him, we talk on the phone with him and recite the poems, and this is The Bluebird of Happiness.
Ooh, I got a kind of a deep voice now from Dad. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. And Laura knows it better than me, but I'm gonna just go for it. Okay, because she called all the time and recited the poems, and I did it sometimes. Okay, here we go.
Okay. The poet with his pen, the peasant with his plow, it makes no difference who you are, it's all the same somehow. The king upon his throne, the jester at his feet, the artist, the actress, the man on the street. It's a life of smiles and a life of tears, a life of hope and a life of fears. There's a blinding torrent of rain, then a brilliant burst of sun. And he used to always do this. Biting, tearing pain, then bubbling, sparkling fun.
And this is a great part right here.
And he paused and he said, remember this, and no matter who you are, don't envy those you meet. It's all the same, it's in the game, the bitter and the sweet. And when things don't look so cheerful, just show a little fight. For every bit of darkness, there's a little bit of light. And for every cloudy morning, there's a midnight moon above.
Thank you so much. I love all of you.
Tally ho!
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Tally ho!
Phil Arnone, great friend of my father, KGMB, when they brought wrestling to TV.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be included in this group. If I stumble along and I think of Tally Ho, it brings back fond memories and a few sad ones. But I remember that he used to, when his greeting used to be to me and to others who may have heard this, he would say, tickle your ass with a feather. I seem to remember this.
Yes, I do.
And then when you would say, what was that? He'd say, oh, typical nasty weather. Covering that faux pas. Anyway, he was good fun. He always had a million stories. My association, as Laura said, was wrestling. I directed the wrestling shows at KGMB for, I think it was 200 years. Was it 200? It was a long time, but they were, we started at the old Civic auditorium doing the wrestling matches that some of you were old enough to remember. And then HIC, which became, what is it? Blaisdell, thank you. Anyway, you know, in the wrestling game, I was just directing it. I'm just covering it. I had nothing to do with the matches. Do not blame me for anything. But try and keep some secrets. You know, I was never invited into the backstage shenanigans, except that the Lord would always say every now and then, be sure you don't cut away exactly when you think the match is over, because I think something else might happen. Yeah. Apparently there was something going to happen, and it always did. You know, that was he was a wonderful guy. But I would just like to say that although he came from merry old England and didn't really look terribly Hawaiian, he had a spirit and a love and a knowledge, and the way he treated people and spoke to people. He had the respect of everybody. I think deep inside, this man was very Hawaiian. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pastor Clarence, I just want to step in and say, for you youngsters out there, you may not know this veteran. This gentleman, Phil Arnone, has produced probably more and better award-winning television shows, productions, international, national, local documentaries, going all the way back to bringing wrestling and Tally Ho to TV. Phil Arnone is a legend, a living legend. Give him a nice round of applause. Phil, God bless you. Thank you. No international event on the Wild West side where they say West is best, right? Welcome to the Waianae Coast. You know that sign that greets you when you come in from town, right, Ents? I think you put that up yourself. Would be complete without words of wisdom from the iconic Makaha family known as the Keaulanas. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Momi Keaulana.
I've known Tally Ho for a number of years. I used to change Jimmy's diapers, Laura's diapers, Carol's diapers, and Baba. I'll tell you guys a cute little story. Baba was about 2 years old, and this beach boy by the name of Jesse Crawford, he worked for Haleau'au. And they lived in the old Steiner Estate building. My sister, Loretta, used to work for Earl Kana at the Haleau'au, and this is in Waikiki. And Tally would come up from downstairs, take Baba, go across the street to the Waikiki Biltmore. And Jesse would be the lifeguard over there sometimes, and so he would tell Baba, Baba, here's 10 cents. What do you want with this? Well, Baba couldn't say fudge sickle, so it came out the other word. And I'd rather not say what it was. But each time that they'd show him a dime, and he'd say, I wanna, and the tourists used to go, oh my God, and Tally would have the biggest bang. Then he'd get Baba, and he'd throw Baba in the water, and he'd go, help, help, save my baby. And Baba could swim underwater. It'd pop up like a seal, go like this, and pop up again. And I'm telling you, it was so cute. And Laura and Carol, they learned how to surf. All the wrestlers that we knew, Billy White Wolf, so nice seeing you, Billy. And all the rest of the gang. I saw them when I was about 8 years old. My uncle was an usher at the Civic Auditorium, and I used to watch all these icons. And I said, wow, these guys are unreal, because they really bought it. But Tally-Ho and Lee, she would be upstairs cooking, and her famous dish, spaghetti and meatballs. And we're downstairs renting surfboards, and you could smell the Italian aroma. And all the beach boys, hey Lee, got any extras? And she always had a pile. These guys would put the rubbish cans down, turn them over, put the surfboards down, and she'd put the spaghetti over there with the meatballs and the bread and whatnot. And I told Tally, what's going on? Charge these suckers some money. They're all over here free rolling. And he says, no, it's okay, it's okay. I said, you're going to go broke. So I used to get this little coconut basket, and I tell the guys, come on, you guys, pony up, give some, give a little aloha. And Lee would say, oh, you can't do that, I won't allow it. And I said, that's not you, that's for the guys to buy beer. But I'm telling you, all through the years, Tally's been down this side, and now he came down here. I remember him building that A-frame house in Makaha. Buff and I lived on this beach. He was a park keeper. And he was so happy with these kids and with Lee and all too. But his famous thing he always did with me, he'd go, Mommy, I got a new one for you. And he'd tell me these awesome jokes. So one day he told me this raunchy one, and I started to laugh, and I said to myself, I got to get back at him. So I turned around and I called him up and I said, Tally, listen to this one. He says, go ahead. I said, in World War II, the Germans, the Japanese, and the Arabs, they all were allies. And men started fighting over prostitution. So what they decided to do to make everything good, all the girls that belonged to the Japanese would have the sign of the sun on their arm, and the girls that belonged to the Germans would have the swastikas, and the Arabs would have their own sign. So one day, these two guys, this German guy and Japanese guy, they didn't understand a word they were saying, but they knew they were allies. So one's drinking sake and the other one's drinking schnapps. And they see this beautiful French girl, so the German guy goes, Wunderbar! He grabs her right arm because there's a swastika here. So the Japanese guy goes, Banzai! The sign of the sun here. So these two guys are doing this, right? Along comes these Arab, and they're both looking at him like, what's going on? Pulls down her pants and he goes, behold the beauty of Allah.
Okay, I just wanted to say I'm glad, Momi, you told that joke and not me. Right on. You folks, ladies and gentlemen, are such a great reflection of Tally-Ho, but she's not alone. She's brought her entire family. One of my favorite moments this entire year is when I saw the poster for the 40th annual Buffalo Big Board Classic and the t-shirt this year, and it featured, as I recall, Curtis Iaukea, the bull. It featured Buffalo Kale on it, of course, with his friend, Lord Blears. Ladies and gentlemen, Buffalo Kale on it and his family are here. Can you give them some mana? You're all invited to come up and say something appropriate and touching, or borderline inappropriate, pushing the edge. Maybe Brother Mel, maybe Jock Sutherland. I think the Ho brothers, both of whom are here, owe a tribute to the guy that loved to say their name so much. How many plays on words did he have, or poems about ho, 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 right? Maybe a little bit later on. The gentleman that co-founded International Professional Surfing, IPS, which became ASP, which is now WSL, Fred Hemmings. And you remember the ground floor of surfing professionally, internationally, was 1976, but it all began as an international contested surf sport here at Makaha. But before it became an international professional sport, as we all seem to know it today, it was preceded by the first competition of any kind in world history that became eventually the Hawaiian Pro Tour and the Triple Crown. But the first contest, professional contest, that started in 1971. Is therefore the longest running professional contest, I believe, in the world. Was started by this gentleman over here. And Tally Ho had a bullhorn. There was a card table and a whopping $1,000 prize purse. Humble beginnings, but the man that was the announcer for the very first professional surf meet in world history at the Bonsai Pipeline that was co-founded right there by that man, Fred Hemmings, was Lord Blears. What a guy, what a guy, what a guy, what a guy. Ma'am, you are next. I hear you got something, a burning share. Here's Linda. Linda, introduce yourself a little bit and tell them what's on your mind, your heart.
Aloha family, my name is Linda, and I just wanted to say how fortunate I felt to know Mr. Blears and all of his family. One of the things that I loved about Mr. Blears, because I always called him Mr. Blears, was how unconditional his love was for everybody and everything. And he may not have been of Hawaiian blood, but his heart was totally Hawaiian, you know. And just the love, the unconditional love, and the kokua that he had for anybody and always, and just how he made, you know, I felt like he was such a moving force for everything that he did, and also with Lee, I felt so fortunate to be able to work a little bit with her as we used to do these little instruction classes. You remember? Okay, and just having them in my life, Laura, Carol, Baba, not so much Jimmy, because he was in and out, but the world lost a very special person, but we've got his spirit now watching over all of us all the time.
Aloha everyone, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jack Starr, and I work at Kimo's Restaurant in Lahaina. I worked with Laura for 34 years, and Mike's story is quick. But the Kimo's Longboard Contest was founded by Carol's husband, Jaime, and a man named Alex, and it's held at Mala Wharf. And I remember being 19 years old, my first year, and they said, you should go down to this surf meet at this long left point break, and you're gonna see some really top-of-the-line longboarding. What they didn't tell me what I was going to hear was the most top-of-the-line announcing I had ever heard. This is this little beach in Lahaina, and Tally Ho Blears' voice was echoing through. With his British accent, he would announce every heat. I've never heard anything like it. He would be, it's his British accent, he'd be on the outside, that is his blue, getting up with the drop knee turn, and look, don't lose sight on the inside. There is the man in red doing a Paul Stroud Cheetah 5. And I'm thinking, what are all of these great adjectives? But as it has come to pass, Jaime moved to Kauai, and I was able to take that contest over and keep it running. And I've never forgot Tally Ho. And people have come up and said, Jack, I can't believe you announce every dang person that gets up. But Tally Ho did, because he felt it was an honor and a tribute to that person who was taking the time to ride that wave, to announce it to the best of his ability. And I am carrying that tradition on, and I will miss Tally Ho dearly. Thank you.
Hi. Well, I'm sure we all have memories of Tally Ho. I certainly do. I remember spending several afternoons here with Johnny and I, with Tally and Lee, and I even went surfing here once. My board hit me, and I got a bloody nose. We all have such super memories of him, and I have a lot of them here. Those are his famous Christmas cards that he would send, and I kept most of them. I think there's maybe only one or two missing. So at this time, I would like to call Tally's grandsons, Zach and Dylan, up here. Would you please come up here? I've never met Zach, so this will be the first time. Okay, I had no one to leave these to, so I thought I'd give these to you. Okay? And And I'm making a lot of memories here today. I'm getting to meet a lot of people I've always wanted to meet too, and it's been a terrific day. Thank you.
Thank you,
Well, I guess we're up here, so we might as well say something. So, just on behalf of Zach and I, you know, everybody up here says Mr. Blears and Tally and the Lord. Some people call him James. We get to call him Grandpa. So I think that was something that, you know, only him and I can share. And he was for everybody, but he was our grandfather. And my daughter's back there, so he has a great-granddaughter, and then he has a great-grandson that's coming along. So the Blears family is still gonna keep rolling. We'll work on Zach. You know, we spent a lot of time at that house on Makaha Street, and we have so many memories, so I can't even begin to start saying any of them. But the thing I got from my grandfather was so many, but the thing that I think that I got, and he never told me, but I just saw it every day, was he was a guy that had everything, even though he didn't show it like he had everything. He had a family, he had loving people around him, he lived in the best place on the earth, around the best people. And he taught me not to want more. And I think we get caught up in wanting more. You know, more of this, more of that, couple of these, couple of that. And he was happy with what he had. And he really instilled that on me, that not to want more, you be blessed with what you have. So on behalf of Zach and I and my granddaughter, or his great-granddaughter back there, Kaimi, we just want to say thank you for everybody for coming out today.
Mahalo, Dylan. Before I introduce our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I must remark that Annie's remarks reminded me that Tally Ho was very specific with me. I wonder if he was with you, speaking of bloody noses, about his nose. I'm hearing chuckling. Does anybody remember that he's broke his nose more than once? Do you remember that? Do you remember how many times? 14? Do I hear 20? I'm not sure I remember the number, but it was a lot of times. I'm not sure I would ask him. I wouldn't especially confront such a manly man about, hey, what's up with your nose? But he would offer it, that there was an explanation for his nose. So he was the real deal, a man's man, and we're glad to celebrate his life here today. A guy that goes back before the Ho brothers at Sunset and Pipeline, that is probably the best living switch-footer, historically and otherwise, that I know, would like to share a word at this time. No, you? Oh, who are you talking about? Huh? Rusty's coming behind you? Yeah. I thought he taught you all you knew. Rusty, you never learned from this guy. I tell you, he was that guy. He said riding big pipeline was like tackling a Tyrannosaurus Rex for dinner. Jock Sutherland would like to have a word with you. Ladies and gentlemen, Jock Sutherland. Aloha.
Brother Jock. Thanks for the kind words, Joe, but I've seen Rusty do stuff like ride his board upside down, backwards, you know what I mean? Just like, I got this, you know, and then they had a Masters contest out here, and the waves were like, you know, 10, 12, a little bit bigger, on a 7-8. Titus and I are both out there on our 7-6s, 7-8s, and we're both going, oops, you know, kind of undergun there. But Rusty was helping bring us out, you know, and he's going, hey, there you go, kind of reminds me of me. But what I'd like to say about Tally Ho is he was cut from the same cloth, even though he came from England. The big, hard kind of guy, like Buff and Georgie, Wally Froyseth, Rustakaki, these guys that would be more than happy to you know, take you under your wing if you had, you know, a little bit hard time, you wiped out too bad, and you know, show you maybe the lineup, or you know, encourage you if you were feeling down, you know. Very, very heartfelt kind of energy from these guys that goes way back. But these are the guys whose shoulders that guys like Hackman and Jimmy Lucas and I stood on to be able to, you know, become more confident and become capable guys, and now we can pass it down to our kids and our grandkids. But one time when I was out here, maybe 64, 65, 66, somewhere in there, Tally Ho, he said, you notice I had a little cut on my shin, and like it was real common stuff, fins, reef, any kind of stuff back then, because the boards were big, and so you oftentimes got bonked by them. But he said, John, I see you have a little cut on your shin here. What we wrestlers what we would do sometimes is we would take plastic wrap and wrap it around the wound area, and it would make it sweat and act as a drawing agent. And I'm like, well, that sounds, logical. And so I did that because my mom was a first aid instructor and swimming coach and all that. And so, we were always getting dinged up. And so I did that, and it actually helped out. So if you guys got, I noticed Randy Rarick had a taped up toe, and I told him about that. But it does help, for areas of bad circulation, ankles, shins like that, the old plastic wrap technique. But thank you, Tally Ho, for the small stuff, the big stuff, and your whole life. Mahalo.
My name is Iaukea Joseph Teipel, and I go back 51 years. Half a century is kind of a long time. When my family arrived here in Hawaii in 1965, we stayed first at the hotel that was managed and run by Lee and Tally Ho in Waikiki. Does anybody remember or know the name of that hotel? Well, of course you do, Carol. The Hawaiian King Hotel. Oh, I know probably your generation probably doesn't remember that hotel, but it's still there. It's still a great mana. That's when I met this family, so I've had a continuous history with them for a very, very long time. So it's a little bit of a sad, bittersweet, but also a celebratory day as well. Seeing the Triple Crown lead announcer out there. How's it, Bo? Bo Hodge. He came a generation, a shade behind me, and I was kind of the generation right in between. I was a little bit of an understudy to Tally Ho in the mid-'80s. And when he was the lead pipeline announcer and I was the junior understudy, I started co-announcing with him the year that this gentleman sitting over here won one of the most celebrated of all the pipeline masters, Derek Ho. Derek, it was a great year. It was a fun beginning for me for what lasted for about 15 years, working alongside the Lord. He's a great man, and great memories. And Bo, I know you have some memories too. Some of them are probably not fit for public consumption, but whatever. You can tell them on the side, right? British limericks, yeah. Born in the United Kingdom. Paul Marino, you did take up my invitation.
I'm going to say something on behalf.
On behalf of the Beach Boys in Waikiki, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Paul Marino.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you. I just want to take this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Beach Boys. There are not many Beach Boys left from the old days of Waikiki, and this was one of their favorites. The stories that they shared with me about Lord Blears was unbelievable. The Beach Boy that shared it the most, who was adopted as a Beach Boy, was Curtis Iaukea. He shared so much with me about all of the wrestlers, especially Tally Ho. He really loved Tally Ho. And it was a blessing and an honor to have been taken under the wing by Curtis and the Beach Boys and shared their stories. I did know Lord Blears myself, my brother Freddie. He was a Beach Boy at Waikiki, and Lord Blears loved Freddie. And every time Lord would show up at a party, Freddie said, "Tally Ho!" And all the Beach Boys would scream out, "Tally Ho!" It's beautiful timing. I want to thank the family for putting this together so that we're all here together again. All ages, all races, blending together to be part of this beautiful place and family we call Ohana. Mahalo again.
Hi, aloha. I was going to remind Paul, I'm Tally Ho's niece, Momi Ho. The Ho's and the Blears are related very closely. My grandfather came from England, so we better check our DNA. I just want to say Mr. Blears is very connected to the Waikiki Beach Boys because as a paddler for the Waikiki Beach Boys Canoe Club, he emceed every one of our regattas for about 200 years. No questions asked. He'd be there
bright and early with Mrs. Blears with her chair and umbrella. Bobby over there would make sure they were all set up with their set up at the Moana Hotel, and we were very proud to have him come out. No problem. He coined, I think, blazing paddles. Oops. Blazing paddles in the sunlight. And he was awesome. And all the hoes are here were related to the Blears. Aloha.
What a precious lady, Leimomi Ho. I remember, a lot of people remember Derek and Michael for their dramatic surfing prowess and success, but I remember doing PR for the Triple Crown before I started co-announcing with Tally Ho, whatever. But this lady was right there behind the scenes. She was the heart and the mana, the cheerleader behind the brothers, all the surf meets that you were there backing them and cheering them on, and probably taught them how to point out the lineup. Were you the one that started that habit where the Ho brothers, yell out and give all the signals about what's coming? I'm just curious, how does everybody know Tally Ho? By a show of hands, among those still with us, obviously still breathing, can fog a mirror, how many watched him on professional wrestling as a wrestler? Okay, look around. You can see how, hey, you're too young to remember that. You knew how to grasshopper, Jimmy. Huh? You went live. Huh? How many remember him as the announcer for professional wrestling, that part? How many people remember him as the announcer at the Triple Crown in the 70s, 80s? Both speaking of the modern era surf movies, remember the old one that I was in? Anybody remember North Shore with Tally Ho as the contest director? I guess he played Randy Rarick that one, huh? Nobody could be Randy Rarick, but Tally Ho could do almost anything. Okay, who's next? Brother Mel. Brother Mel Pooh. Come on, give him some yamana. Woo, Brother Mel.
Well, being from Makaha and all, you're gonna have to meet Tally Ho Blears. As a lifeguard at Makaha Beach, he would make it a point every day to drive by and stop behind the tower, and he's got the joke of the day every single day, and he would just make us laugh. And some days we couldn't stop laughing. We'd be looking at each other and then we'd just laugh again. One of our fondest memories, we were paddling canoe and they would always hire Tally Ho to be the MC for the HCRA championship races and a lot of the other races. And he was a great announcer, great presence. But then he would apologize sometimes. And he would say, I gotta apologize because my favorite crew from Makaha is coming up. And he started when Brian and I was 16 boys. And he used to scream at the top of his lungs. Then when we became freshmen, we were 16 champions, we became freshman champions with Ronald, Bruce, Hershey Dawes. He would name everybody in the crew. As soon as we start the race, you couldn't hear nothing else but Tally Ho. We'd be paddling and we could hear Tally Ho. We'd have to tell Sam to call the huts louder because he'd be cheering us on. And then when we would win, he would just go off. And he said, that's my favorite crew. They're from Makaha, where I live. Thank you guys very much.
Hello everybody, my name is Ron. I'm from the west side. I go represent the west side over here. I just like my condolences to the family, and just for let other people know that Tally Ho and his family were part of Waianae. Grew up, kids seeing him, passing by, surfing with us, and early in my city and county career, I was on I was on park keeper at this Tamura tennis courts down here. And he used to come play tennis, him and Jimmy. And they were good tennis players. I think Jimmy was top ranked amateur in Hawaii. But Taliho was always on pleasure for seeing him because he was always joyful. And, he gonna get his jokes too, right? Test them out on me, right? but just like I said, a family, they're part of the West Side, plenty of law. He had plenty of law for the people here. He could adapt well with the locals, the Hawaiians who are talking with us, and just joyful people for be acquainted with the Blears family. But I just like Taliho with us, Taliho. Yeah, good memories, Taliho. Yeah, always joyful, always up. The spirit, yeah, his spirit always with us. The flesh, we wither with our spirit, and I just feel that Taliho's spirit is with us today. Before I get off, I remember one joke from him. I don't know why this one stick in my mind all the time. Kind of raunchy, these jokes, but I'm gonna try to tone them down a little bit, okay? Ronald, you know what one well-endowed guy ate for breakfast? I said, what? Oh, this morning I had 2 eggs, I had coffee. Yeah, right.
Brother Ron, representing the West Side. This gentleman here is from, as you may know, some of you may or may not know him, but you all know the iconic West Side DeSoto family. He's one of the, I'm going to call him one of the 2 mayors of Makaha. We see him out in the water here a lot. And by the way, you want to give him a warm welcome because it was Bruce DeSoto and his family that led off the poo here earlier today. Thank you, Brother Bruce DeSoto. Please come share your mana'o. Mahalo. Bruce DeSoto, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, I love this family, the Blears family. They've been my neighbors for 20-something years, and I watched them grow up from small kind, and I see them turn into beautiful people. I love them, and they got our backs. So when my nephew Dwayne builds something, his project, they back him up 100%. And Lord Blears, I tell you, I love that guy. I love Lee. When I was growing up, I was driving the city bus, and Lee used to always make cookies for Jimmy, and Jimmy was working at Sunset, at Lifeguard Tower, and said, Bruce, can you stop there and give him the package and his envelopes and stuff, and I got a bag of cookies for you. I thought, easy, no problem, I grab them, eating cookies as I driving bus, and I pop the horn over there. Here comes Jimmy, come running out. Right on, Bruce, right on, and grab the kind. Here's yours, and I got my cookie. What, he gave you 2? Yeah, but no worry, go in, I drive, and then I come home, and your dad, and the guy said, he had the jokes, but I couldn't get some of his jokes because the jokes is kind of like howly kind, And he telling me the joke, and I fake the laugh sometimes, like, and then I go in the house, and then it comes to me, and then I'm laughing up there, and then he yells, "Oh, what? You got him now?" Yeah, I got him. Your dad was unreal. I love him. Shit. Yeah, Tally-ho, man, I love you guys, and anytime you guys want something, you guys know my number.
Can you do a shout out to the George Downing? The Downings are right in the car. They're just saying.
Indeed, had I had eyes on the back of my head, and Laura had to get me to turn 180, we got the legendary Brother George Cam, chauffeur for the one and only George Downing, coming here also. Mahalo, George, paying his respects to our dear departed friend, Tally-ho Blears. There's Keone, the whole family's here. We got food, fun, music, stories, more celebrations. Clinton Blears, where are you at this point? And how is our paddle out program? Let me check in now on a time check, since it is high noon.
Thank you, everybody. Just like we said, you know, this will be here later, but just to kind of respect everybody's day, we want to try before this is like the wind changed out there, we can get out and get the ashes out in the water. So if there's some boats here, there's, you know, some boats for the family. If you're going to go out, obviously be safe. I wanted to get Alika back up here, just while we have everybody together. Just want to, you know, if Clarence wants to say a closing prayer, but I'd like to do with Alika doxology, just while we got everybody here, just a small blessing. If you know, because everybody stand up, grab hands. And then to follow that, we have food. Please, if you can hang out and have food, please. I'm sure everybody can take some home, but we'd love everybody to share and talk story amongst each other. So I'll let my fellow warriors start us off so I don't break us here. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Take care of the housekeeping. Yeah, please. Yeah. Yeah. Before we get started, let Brian just say what we're going to do here so we can stay safe.
Okay, for the paddle out and stuff also too, just so you guys are aware, the wind is blowing hard and it is going to blow towards the reef and stuff like that too. So depending where the family want to go, where Auntie Lee is, we're going outside. The family can proceed and lead us guys out, you know, so give them way. We do have a ski that can be safety and stuff too. And we're gonna try to pull an anchor, and those that can paddle, try and go upwind. But if people get swept down, we're gonna kind of bring you inside also too, okay? Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Epulikako. Loving Father, we thank you for the beautiful stories that we've shared. We thank you for our memories, heartfelt mahalos, for all who have gathered here to celebrate Taliho. We give thanks for this man, for his contribution to our lives, to our world, to Makaha. And we simply ask that you will continue to bless us as we celebrate this day. We break bread together and continue to appreciate this wonderful, wonderful man and his family. Amen.
you.